This episode of the MOC Squad was filmed in front of a live, members-only audience. And we're live, Rob. Welcome.
Well, I was watching a Klingon D7 battle cruiser from Star Trek, the new AMT 1/650th scale kit. I watch modeling
650th. So what does that? Yeah. What is that?
It means that each piece in real life would be 650 times bigger.
So it's small. It's a pretty small.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the old kit that was released when we were. Yeah, I watch model videos the way other men watch pornography. I guess the model videos that I watch are pornography. You know, I'm never too far away from from Star Trek starship models. I have them everywhere. You know, I posted a meme of a guy saying to his girlfriend, "Hey, can we have toys in the bedroom?" And then the other side is the woman, and he's got an Enterprise D coming toward her.
I saw it.
That's not what she meant. That's not what she thought he was going to do. I'm like, why not?
That's awesome.
You know, I'm coming above the moons of Uranus.
There's a market to be exploited there by Paramount. You know, Star Trek.
Exploited is right.
Star Trek sex toys. You know, I mean, McCoy.
Well, they do make. Eagle Moss did make a small V'ger toy, a small V'ger from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and it's a little questionable.
There you go.
I used to have it on my shelf behind me, and people are like, "What is that? What is that on your? What is that?"
Yeah, you know, that's becoming so much more kind of less taboo anymore. You know, like I receive these catalogs sometimes in the mail, especially around the holidays. You get on mailing lists, and you start getting these catalogs, and it used to be like these, bits and pieces catalog, or just like puzzles and kind of things for like your parents, and they have a section on sex toys, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's been normalized now. If you can have Thomas Kincaid, Painter of Light, in one page and sex toys on the next,
the world we live in today.
You can do anything now. So yeah.
Yes.
There you go. Hey, before we get started, we have a couple of super chats quick that I figured we could knock out of the way first of all. John Armstrong Music has become a member on YouTube, so welcome, John Armstrong, to join us here.
Welcome to the show.
A $10 super chat from the Film Guy, saying the first half of Godzilla 2014 has the emotional power of -1. But after Bryan Cranston dies, it becomes generic and less appealing. Yeah, that's an interesting observation.
Yeah, I haven't heard that before. Yeah, I don't know if I would agree with that totally. I mean, I understand I think the tone is certainly similar. Yeah. I don't know if it's as good, but the tone is definitely similar.
Right.
Which I like.
And if remembering when that movie came out and people, reviewing it and whatnot, a lot of people said that they felt that the movie kind of went astray when the Bryan Cranston character ended up not being the lead character, right?
Right. Yeah, I would tend to.
It had kind of given people that impression, and then it turned out to be something else. So,
but I think that the storyline in Godzilla -1, I mean, the whole survivor, a kamikaze pilot with survivor's guilt,
PTSD,
and
all that.
Yeah. And I think that it just had a lot more resonance to it, especially coming from being that it was made in Japan. And I really enjoyed Shin Godzilla and this. Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting examinations. It's amazing to me that the first Godzilla movie was released in 1954 in Japan. And I mean, that was less than 10 years after Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Right.
And it's stunning to think that, I mean, I feel that living through the time that we're living in, that people are, at least my perception has been skewed by being on social media, but people are woefully ignorant of the last 100 years of history.
Mm-hmm.
And it's shocking to me, and to understand how these kinds of things resonate, and what they mean. And it's really sort of, in a way, disheartening, because so much of when I was growing up, in the 20th century, which is odd to say. I mean, when I think back about my life, I was born in the 60s. And when I think about that, I'm like, was I?
Yeah.
I mean, I have to stop and go, oh, yeah. So I was born less than 25 years after the end of World War II.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the pop culture that I watched when I was a kid was very much, including the original Star Trek, including Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, all the shows of the 60s. I mean, it was very much informed by the generation that fought in World War II, lived through World War II. And people forget, just, I mean, you're talking 100 million people died in World War II worldwide, if you include Russia and you include, I mean, it's insanity. And now I feel like we're so far removed from it that there's really not an understanding. And it was something we learned about in school. I mean, it was very much a part of, and then you think about, like, when I was born, that would mean that World War II was in 2000, and I was born this year in 2023.
Right.
Sort of. Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. And that's shocking to think about.
Right.
And in terms of, and what happened, I mean, after World War II, there was the Korean War. And I think people would be like, yeah, that was North Korea. There was a shocking invasion of South Korea within 3 days, and we stepped in and saved Korea from becoming a completely communist country.
Right.
And people don't, like, there was a Korean War.
Right.
and for me, I think, yeah, there's because so much of what our pop culture does is shape what we think of history as. And I remember watching The Manchurian Candidate for the first time, and it was set during the soldiers were captured by the North Koreans and brainwashed by the Russians and the Chinese.
Right.
And it was like, that was like, oh my God. So of course I would remember the Korean War, and nowadays, I think that people don't even, there is no pop culture about the Korean War. So why would anybody know what it was?
Well, I've had conversations with folks that if they remember MASH, they think it was the Vietnam War.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
which is crazy
to think, right? If they remember it, they remember it incorrectly. They think that it was set during the Vietnam War. So
yeah, and MASH was such a staple.
It was. I mean,
it ran for 10 years. And now you add, like everyone knows the song "Suicide is Painless." When you hear the theme to MASH. Nowadays, maybe not so much.
Not so much.
And it was on for, I mean, it was shocking.
Yeah.
Everybody, the last episode of MASH was like this seismic event.
It was
on TV.
Yeah.
But I'm sure by saying this, people are like, "Oh my God,
who are these old guys?"
but I think, and I've said this a lot on our channel. When we were younger, like in one day, like before I went to school, I would watch. They would broadcast Our Gang shorts, Spanky and Alfalfa and Darla, Buckwheat. Those were from the 30s.
Yeah.
And then you'd get home and there was like a 3-hour block of sitcoms. You had Leave It to Beaver, which is the 50s. You had Gilligan's Island, and you had My Three Sons and the Partridge Family and the Brady Bunch and all those things. So you went from the 60s to the 70s. So in one day, as a kid, you're watching American pop culture from the 1930s to the 1970s in one day. And you would be getting a visions of America from the Depression all the way up to the Me generation in an afternoon. And as kids, you were aware, you're watching the differences in style and the way people were treated. And it was really interesting to grow up and view the world that way. And because, with kid shows, if you watch something like The Simpsons, which is now 30 years old, The Simpsons is a show where Bart Simpson was always pulling one over on his father. There was the parents were kind of buffoons. That was not the case when I was growing up. I mean, there was no TV shows where kids were smarter than their parents. Leave It to Beaver, when Beaver would fuck up, you'd always have Ward and June would be there to sort it out, or Wally.
Right.
And the same was true of the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
If the Brady kids messed up, it was Mike and what was Mrs. Brady's name?
Carol?
Carol, Mike and Carol Brady.
Yeah.
If somebody did something wrong, they would discipline them. Yeah. And that would run on. It was interesting, not so much in the Our Gang shorts.
No.
So in the 30s, the kids were getting away with a lot. And then you had the rise of the middle class, and then the very much the American nuclear family in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. And then by the time you get to the Simpsons, kids rule. And then like Nickelodeon shows of the 90s and the aughts, adults were, inconsequential.
Yeah. Well, and
interesting.
The Little Rascals are going to, I think it was a reflection of the idea that, a lot of parents were not around. They were out,
exactly.
Work, right? So the kids were kind of fending for themselves, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
Pedro Ferreira mentions, what about Dennis the Menace? Because Dennis the Menace had a TV show too. But if I remember, Dennis the Menace was never smarter than his parents. He was smarter than the neighbor, but his parents always ended up having to kind of impart the lessons in the end. So there was
and it was called Dennis the Menace.
Yeah, right. It was very
so yeah, he was not a paragon of virtue.
Right.
He was always going to get in trouble and be disciplined.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, enough of us chatting away here. We got plenty of people waiting to join us in the member chat today. So we're going to go ahead and let them in the room right now. So let's go ahead and do Rob's favorite part, the cascade of fans coming in.
The cascade of fans, the cascade of
the
people.
Cavalcade of members coming in. Welcome, everybody. And while you guys roll in there, I'm going to go ahead and get Rob pinned so that we can start our member chat. Remember, those of you who would like to ask a question or share a comment, raise your hand with the raise hand feature in Zoom, and we will take you in the order that your hands were raised. Let's see. I'm trying to find Rob here so I can pin him. There we go. We got Rob. And it looks like Alon, our good man over in Tel Aviv, is going to be first on the list. So let me go ahead and get Alon on the call. Alon, you should be able to unmute now, and welcome.
What up, dude? Nice shirt. How are things? Oh.
Let me see. I've asked you to unmute again, Alon. Go ahead and try it now. Oh, audio issues. Alon is saying he's got audio issues. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and skip Alon and go to Justin Toner, and then I will bring Alon later. So let me remove Alon for now, and let's go ahead and add Justin. And Justin, you should be able to unmute now. Welcome.
Hello, good day.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good.
Nice shirt.
Oh yeah. Thank you. I'm going to see Godzilla -1 again for a second time tonight with some friends of mine who have
nice.
Most of them haven't seen it. One of my other friends is part of the group. He and I went to see it on our own last weekend. So I'm excited.
It's so
I can't
good.
wait to see their reactions because God, it's so freaking good.
Yes, it is.
I was blown away. Just like the stuff that the main character deals with his, his PTSD and being haunted by the deaths of those guys. It's like because he froze up, and also the fact that he was supposed to be a kamikaze pilot, and he
came back.
He lied to get out of doing his kamikaze run. It's like he's full of guilt, and I love how it starts off where it's like people chide him like the neighbors like you didn't do your duty, you were supposed to die. It's like, it's like, and then like later they're like they I think it was like his friend who meets on the boat, the doctor who comes up with the big plan, like rails against that about like no, it's like that kind of thinking was wrong. It's like
Right.
it's like,
Yeah, no, the movie's really, really good. I mean, it has a lot to say, and it shows, I think, to me, it's just a great example of what genre filmmaking can be.
Yeah.
And that's why, and look, it shows that, I mean, they were only going to play the movie theatrically for a week, and it's done so well that they've extended it. The director of been watching that guy, that guy directed the live action Star Blazers movie.
No.
Yeah, he did. And the live action Star Blazers movie is not bad. It's not great, but the visual effects and stuff. He also directed a really cool movie called Returner.
Yeah, I've heard you mention that. I may have to try to see if I can
yeah, it's pretty good. But it's not. He sent out over social media. I saw that he sent a thank you.
I retweeted it. Yeah, it's like I love that when he was on at the premiere at the red carpet, he had a little Godzilla figure in his hands.
Yeah,
I mean that's it's like it just warmed my heart. It's like that such a this is what happens when you put someone who loves a property in the right hands, has the right mentality, because he was a massive Godzilla fan as a kid growing up, and now he gets to play in that sandbox. And he hit a like a home run, or probably even say even a grand slam with this movie.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, 100%.
And I did like. I was surprised that of the ending, foreshadowing a potential sequel. I was like, okay, I would love to see a sequel, follow up a sequel to the events of this one. It's like go for it, Toho. He said he would love to do it. He said if he ever got offered to do a Star Wars movie, he would jump on it because he's a Star Wars fan. So,
well, look, I would love to see somebody bringing a Japanese sensibility to Star Wars, because it's built. It's built.
Yeah,
it's built into the DNA of it all.
Yeah,
and
Kurosawa influence that Lucas put into the original trilogy. That would be awesome to see someone like him do a Star Wars movie. So he's definitely gonna get noticed. I don't know if he'll get any kind of nominations. Hopefully, he'll get. I think it should get nominated for like best foreign film,
or visual effects.
It's in the finals. It's one of the finalists for best visual effects. It's made the finals. So hopefully, it'll get nominated.
I mean, it shows. I think it's a great example of people don't understand that a great visual effect is all about design. It's all about the design of the shot. And nowadays, I think that because everything's shot against green screens, or when things are shot against green screen, it makes everything an effect shot, and you just have to comp in backgrounds. But when you're doing something like those water shots when Godzilla's pursuing the boat in the beginning, I mean, and then some of the shots of the destruction are just insanely good.
That whole sequence, that Jaws homage when he's coming after their little boat, I was like this, because I'm like, who's gonna die? Because like it's like they're in deep shit here. It's like Godzilla's coming for him like Jaws.
Right. No, it was great.
It was fantastic.
It was so well done.
So suspenseful. So I got my copy last week.
Have you watched it?
Not yet. I'm going to soon. I've heard that everyone's saying that the 4K restoration is magnificent.
It's great. It looks great.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is one of my favorite movies growing up. Found it on HBO because I didn't get to see it in the theater.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw it opening day.
Yeah. You did?
Yeah, it's good.
And, I did get to watch the Wolfman's Got Nerds documentary that Andre Gower, who was one of the stars of the movie, did.
It's really good.
Really fantastic documentary about the just how the fan phenomena behind this film. It was very well done. I really liked it. He's done some interviews. He said that he's working with Kino to do a separate Blu-ray release of the documentary that will have he's got like an hour special features that he's never been able to release because it was put on Blu-ray, but there was no special features. So he's working with Kino to put it back out on Blu-ray with like an hour of like special features that he's held for a couple.
Yeah, I mean, Kino's killing it, man. They're just acquiring those movies and getting them out on Blu-ray. It's 4K. It's
amazing.
I was so happy. When they redid The Usual Suspects and put all of our special features out. They had never come out. Been for 20 years. They were never. Yeah, they were never on Blu-ray.
Get that 4K. I still didn't get that 4K Usual Suspects. I'm gonna try to see if I can take advantage of the Kino sale, the Kino holiday sale, because American Ninja 1 and 2 are down to like $10. Stone Cold's now $10. I think I need to get my hands on those.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you need those movies.
One last thing, I did take advantage of the Vinegar Syndrome Black Friday sale. I got my hands on the Cynthia Rothrock movie, The Magic Crystal, and I got the 4K of Gorgo with the slip cover, because the slip cover was selling like hot edition.
Yeah.
So I was like, I better grab that now before it's gone. So I got the slip cover before it sold out.
I bought that crazy box set of Lost films.
Yeah.
And then I bought Existence. I didn't even know that they were putting that out. They like dropped that. I was like, what? They didn't even announce that. It came out of nowhere. And I'm like, well, it's Cronenberg. I have to have it.
They keep surprising me. I mean, like, they've been making some big surprises last year. I mean, like Roadhouse 4K, Showgirls 4K, now Existence. It's like they're getting some big name movies to release, and which I'm glad, because they do they put so much love into the special features and the restoration. So it's like good for Vinegar Syndrome. I'm probably gonna have to get my hands on that next time there's like a sale. I only had like so much money to spend. I was on a budget.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I'm 2 weeks behind on discs. There's like, in the last 2 weeks, like $1,500 worth of discs have come out. Yeah, and I'm just like, sorry, I've got mortgage payments and stuff.
I don't know.
And then I've been trying to pay for the our audio drama. We're doing that. And I've been putting all of my extra money. I haven't bought anything into the audio drama, which is really, it's turning out. The proof of concept is I'm done. Well, I've run out of money, but I'm done next. We're done Friday. We're done with the proof of concept.
Awesome.
And we're going to launch the Kickstarter campaign for it. It's really turned out well. I think it's going to be, I can't wait to adapt these 2 books. Because I didn't know how to be honest, I didn't know how to make an audio drama. I mean, I'd never done it before. I knew the idea behind it, but it was interesting. I've discovered that less is more when you're doing an audio drama. It's not like an audio book. It's a full-blown, sound effects and special effects, and it's been really interesting to do it. So now and that was only a 12-page script. Now we're gonna do 8 hours of it. It'll be interesting with now our Saturn Award nominated Todd Stashwick.
Very nice.
So that's cool. Yeah.
Good to see you, Justin. Rob, I have a special request from Stubble McShay if we can bump up the minute limit, given that we don't have as many callers today. What's your
go right ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and bump it to 9
used
minutes.
Stubble's article for observations. Thank you, by the way, Stubble. I gave you full credit, by the way.
But we got Alon said that he fixed this audio issue. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Alon next, and then Stubble will be up after that. So let's get Alon in here. Welcome, Alon.
What's up,
you
dude?
Be able to unmute.
Shalom, Chag Sameach.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Chag Hanukkah Sameach.
How are things with you?
With me personally, I mean, I'm fine. I'm doing fine. It's as fine as we can be in this messy situation.
Yeah.
I've been. I actually don't really have a lot to talk about. During like this whole period, I don't really have time for to watch stuff.
Right.
I still haven't watched the Marvels. Which is the first for me, because I usually watch them all like opening weekend and then a couple more times after that. But not yet. I'm guessing I'll wait until it reaches Disney Plus.
Right.
But I did get to watch Scott Pilgrim's new TV show.
Oh, what'd you think?
On Netflix. I liked it. I mean, I personally like. I like the movie much more. I
Right,
think.
right.
It wasn't bad. I just came in like a blank slate. I had no idea what it was. I didn't even like watch the trailer or anything. I just put it on, and then I was shocked. Like my expectations were subverted. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. Did you watch it?
I watched the first 2 episodes and I liked it. You know, I haven't sat down to watch it again. I've just been so busy working on, I'm trying to finish White Devils and then doing the audio drama. It's been insane. So I've been doing that, but so I haven't sat down to watch it. The only show that I watch immediately when it's on is For All Mankind.
Really?
Like, I'm Johnny on the spot with that. It's 6:00 Thursday night. I'm like, I can't. I mean, but everything else I'm kind of catching up on. So I watched some of Scott Pilgrim, which I liked, but like you, it's animated, it's cool, but you know, the thing about that, it began as a graphic novel, so seeing it as in live action was it's more interesting to me than the animated version. But I think the animated version is good. And Ben David Grabinski, I know, one of the guys who co-created the show, and I like it. You know, I can't wait to get back and watch the rest of it.
Yeah, I really liked it, and the idea of like bringing back the cast was really nice.
Yeah, that was really cool.
But that was mostly everything I managed to watch, because like work and war and everything in between.
Yeah, I have to go to work and there's war.
Yes.
Have you played any games?
I did, actually. Yeah.
Anything?
I'm halfway through the first Alan Wake.
Oh, okay.
Which is great. I've heard so much about the second one that I had to try it myself.
Right.
Right. So I'm mostly either playing Alan Wake or playing Final Fantasy VII, the remake, I think.
Yeah. I heard that was good.
It's excellent, actually. Like I really like it. I'm stuck in like this boss fight that I'm not able to surpass. But I'm on it. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. And then other than that, I did start playing a remake of I'm blanking. Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, really?
Yes. I never got to play it as a kid, so I'm doing my best to like fill in the gaps of my childhood.
Right. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I have Baldur's Gate. I turned it on for like 20 minutes and I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, I can't. I have to wait. I have to wait until I'm done with all this stuff. Like the last 2 weeks between Christmas and New Year's, I think I'll just play all of Baldur's Gate. That's why I'm saving it, because it is that good. It is that good.
Okay, so you're not only saving it, you're savoring it.
Yes, I'm savoring it, because I could see that I would become obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And never.
I've heard great things about it, but I think it's like more of a it's gonna take me much more time than I'm willing to put into it.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because the game, when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, like I've loved the Grand Theft Auto franchise, and I've played when Grand Theft Auto 5 came. Well, all of them. The first one I ever played was Grand Theft Auto 3 on PlayStation 2, and I was obsessed with that. And then Grand Theft Auto 5 that came out in 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
I saw the trailer that you put out.
Which I swapped out. It was so funny because the Tom Petty song that's in the original trailer is cool. But I'm like, how do you not put, because Encore Numb, that song is from the very beginning of Michael Mann's Miami Vice movie. And I'm like, how do you not put that in here? Because so I had to do it. The trailer is a friend of mine sent me the link and said, look what just dropped. And I watched the trailer like 10 times, and then I just downloaded it and then downloaded Numb and then put them together and put it back up.
By the way, it's an excellent trailer.
Oh my God.
One of the best ones I've seen in a while. Like
It's so it was so funny. Have you watched where they compared the trailer to actual footage of real people in Florida? I mean, that alone. It's so funny to me that people are mad that people are writing me, oh, this game's going to be woke because there's a female protagonist. I'm like, what? Well, it doesn't look woke to me.
I think there's a couple of games that really like pissed a lot of people off. And GTA is like up there with Mortal Kombat and with, I think The Sims was one of them. Oh, not The Sims, but Spore, the one with the evolution.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of groups that are dedicated into really getting pissed off over GTA. But as someone who's not really played like 5, I think I own it, but I haven't played it in a while. And GTA 4 I haven't played at all. As someone who did not play it, GTA 6 like looks so much fun. I can't wait to put my hands on it.
I love GTA 5. I love the 3 characters switching between them all, and then when it gets to that game is what I love about GTA is the stress relief. You can just do things, and like I used to I would go get the helicopter gunship and then spawn and use the cheat codes and sit above the airport and see how many planes I could blow up before I got shot down.
Yeah, it's such a shame that like cheat codes are not really a thing nowadays. Like you used to be able to cheat your way into like doing whatever you want, and now you have to pay for it. And you have to like microtransaction your way into like an extra money or something.
Yeah, the cheat codes in GTA 5 were so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do with Vice City, but I mean, I'm looking so for it because it doesn't look like it's a period piece. I mean, they have the white Testarossa in there, but it looks like it takes place today.
Yeah,
so
you really inspired me. I took the trailer myself and I put the music from the Dead Island trailer, which was also very beachy, very insane trailer.
Oh, I gotta see that.
Yeah, it's I'll DM you.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's a great one.
Anyway, I just wanted to say Happy Hanukkah. That's Luna, my dog. She's here. So she like her head just popped up for a second.
Well, stay safe. Hopefully, this will be over soon.
Hopefully,
or will it ever be? I don't know.
That's it. Are you celebrating? Did you light up your
menorah? I did. I said the Baruch and did the whole thing. It's funny because my menorah, I want to say I've had it since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. It looks like it's a lamp. I mean, it looks like the lamp in the temple, but it looks like it's a lamp. And then you've got so if you look at it sideways, it looks like the shape of like Aladdin's lamp.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I've had it since I was a kid, and it's I've carried it around with me wherever I've lived. So I brought it to California back in '88. So it's been in California with me for 35 years.
That's so cool. Yeah, so very cool.
Good to see you, Alon. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you, man. Stay safe.
And happy Hanukkah.
You too.
Now I got to play that remake of Final Fantasy. I keep forgetting to get that.
Rob, I don't know if you're familiar. There's a new website, kind of an app that's come out called Puzzmo, Puzzmo. They've been making a little bit of news lately because I think they just ended up in a partnership with one of the big publishing houses. But they basically, in essence, created a puzzle page, like the New York Times puzzle page, but it's just the puzzles, right? So the idea is to compete with the New York Times puzzles as its own kind of standalone thing. And the puzzle for today, the crossword, is shaped like a menorah, and it's all Hanukkah themed. So if you want to check it out, it's a pretty cool way that they made it. So Anyway, we've got Stubble. Oh wait, before I say that, we did have a new member. Just say hello to Lost for Words. Lost for Words has become a member, so thank you for joining us.
This is not the channel for that.
That's right. yeah. I mean, at least here you're not going to experience that. That's right. But then, Stubble is coming up next, so let's go ahead and bring him in. Welcome, Stubble. You should be able to join us now.
Stubble, I'm going to send you the answer to the question that you asked me on Twitter. I'm just going to send you files of what you're asking for. Various files. I'll just send them to you via WeTransfer. So, but we can't hear you. We can't hear your.
No, we can't hear you. I did unmute you, but you're still muted.
Let me look and see if now that I'm talking to you right now, I'm gonna find these files that I'm gonna send you. Multiple different versions.
Maybe we should let's see. Stubble is switching his headset.
Yeah.
Still...
Can you hear me
there
now?
we go. We can hear you now. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I had the wrong headset down.
Oh,
I have two different systems here. So right.
You still have the TOMP email? Is that your email?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna send you something via WeTransfer. You're gonna have to download it, but download them.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I will send them to you.
Right.
You didn't get them from me.
No. But anyway, I was just wondering, I was just wondering. But anyway, did you enjoy the first Dresden file?
Yes, the book. Yes, I really liked it. Now I'm going to read the rest of them. How many are there?
Yeah.
What?
So far, 17.
Oh God. Okay.
but that was a question I had for you, because that you got the hardcover, right, from me?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But the rest are hard to get as hardcovers.
Right.
So I was wondering if you are interested in getting them as paperbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I love getting hardcovers. Since I like this series, I'll go back and get them.
So because I thought of maybe sending him some to you for the holidays, but I can only get the paperback in that case. So I wasn't sure if you were interested or not.
Yes, I am definitely interested.
Yeah.
I have to sign in. I have to sign in on this because I have yet to sign in. Sorry, I'm trying to send this to you right now. I'm not.
That's okay.
It's okay. We'll have to find them first. No, because I wasn't signed in to these files that I'm sending you are MKV files, so you'll have to convert them. So, and then the third one is they're redoing it, so I have to send that to you later. So yeah. Anyway,
right. But I got a new book. I got something that I should have read but haven't. It's foundational for all mythology stories for the last 100 years.
Right. Oh wow, that's a really nice version. Is that like from the Folio Society or something? That's really nice. Or is that in Swedish? Are you reading that stuff in Swedish or English?
No. I read it in English. So I haven't. Have you read it?
Paradise Lost. Yeah, but I haven't. I read it in college.
Yeah, I never read it, and I thought that maybe I should, delve into it because it's foundational for mythological storytelling, more or less.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm looking for. I just realized I have another version for you that I'm gonna send you.
it was not that important. It was, but
Sure
I
it is. It's
appreciate it.
totally important. What are you talking about? Come on now. So, but yes, I like Paradise Lost.
Yeah. So I thought that it was a big gap in my knowledge. So I thought I should get it.
And it's foundational.
yeah.
You have to read it. So yeah, that's good.
I finished with you.
Well, I didn't. You dropped out there a little bit.
Are you finished what you were doing with the
yes.
with where you were sending?
Yes, I have.
So
yes,
I wanted to talk about a movie that's coming next year. That I think a lot of people are sleeping on.
Which one?
I would say it's the most expensive independent movie that's coming. Megalopolis.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, that's my most anticipated movie for next year. It may not be good, but it's the movie I'm most in.
Me too. To be honest, me too.
They described it as Blade Runner meets Julius Caesar and Coppola doing it.
Oh yeah,
it could be bad, but I'm hoping it's.
Oh, I can't wait. I mean, and it's truly the most expensive.
Great.
It's like $100 million, $100 million independent movie.
Yeah, I think it was 120. So, and he sold his vineyard, I think.
Yeah, he did,
to finance the whole. Yeah. So, and it's a great cast. So I think it's going to turn out pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. So I'm sending you something. It's 44 gigabytes. So actually, I'm sending you 3 things that in total are 44 gigabytes. So there you go.
Right. Thanks.
But yeah, Megalopolis, I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm a huge Coppola fan, so. Yeah. Wow, it says it's going to take 3 hours to send this to you. Oh well, it's because I'm broadcasting.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't screw up your broadcast.
Yeah.
But I was thinking TV, in the 80s, 90s, and the noughties compared to now. Because it was episodic then. You got a chance for a TV series by one episode, and you got the same repetition every week. Star Trek episode had a certain flow to it.
Yeah, and it was a single. It was a single episode. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they were fun to watch. You go back.
Episode,
yeah, but they were 45-minute chunks.
Yeah, and you remember individual episodes, and you can speak to that happened in that episode, and those 3 episodes were not so great, and those 5 were great. But now it's just, it's a continuum. You don't really know which episodes were good or not.
Well, because it's overall, it's usually like one story. Yeah, or it's one. I mean, it's interesting to me because
serialized.
Yeah, and because it's a different thing. I mean, it's a different. I was going back and we were doing for Inglorious Trexperts. We were doing the best seasons of Star Trek, and I was just kind of jumping around and looking at various seasons of Star Trek, and it was interesting to go back and because I've watched like Next Generation, both the original series and Next Generation, I've watched all the way through for work. Like when I worked on the Star Trek Experience in Vegas, I had to digitize all the episodes of Next Generation and the original series, and then also what existed at the time of Deep Space Nine and Voyager. Voyager was only like 2 years old. So there have been times when I've watched those episodes so many times over the years, but watching them all the way through, and there's just a different feel. and then you go back and you watch like Picard season 3, which is a complete, the individual episodes. There are individual episodes in Picard season 3 I really like episode 4, I think is really, really good. But yeah, it's a different way to watch things.
Yeah. And there's so much stuff now that you have no time to rewatch anything. Maybe one or two things, but you don't remember episodes from anything except for if you watch, the Star Trek show.
Yeah, well, and it's because they're not complete stories. You're watching chunks of a story, and they're that novelistic. But I think you're right. I mean, Twilight Zone episodes or Outer Limits episodes are burned into my brain, and classic Star Trek episodes as well.
Yeah.
So
if they did Shawshank Redemption now, it would be a 8-episode TV show.
Yeah, I mean,
and
I think
lose all its punch. It would lose punch because you don't have the build up for 2 hours and then the release. One episode is just the ending, more or less.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a big problem. I think it's a big problem for movies, and that's why we've lost. There is no adult-oriented dramas the way, like I always talk about The Verdict. That would be a 10-episode Netflix series, and like you said, it would lose all of its punch. And I think that even shows like The Lincoln Lawyer, they made a movie, The Lincoln Lawyer, then they turned it into a series, and they've done that on TV for a long time, but we used to have like MASH. MASH was a movie first, and then it became a TV show. And I think we've lost. It's hard. I miss seeing adult-oriented dramas like Shawshank Redemption. Like you said, that movie would never get made today. Nobody would make it. It'd be made as a TV show for Netflix. That would be 10 episodes, and I think that's problematic.
And it would lose its impact. It would be, that was a cool episode.
Yeah.
The last episode. The 3-4 in the middle were just, not as exciting. Anyway, I think my time is up.
All right. Well, it's good to see you. And thanks for sending me that article about world building.
Yeah.
Good to see you,
I thought maybe you appreciate it. Yeah. See you.
Yeah, did you hear, Rob, that I think they're making a TV series out of Cape Fear? Have you heard rumors about that?
No, but I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Again, I just wish that they would make things that haven't been made before.
Yeah.
Or if they're going to do it, like I really like Fargo. Fargo's every season they've reinvented.
But in a way, what they've done with Fargo is that the first movie could be seen as one episode of the anthology, or one season of the anthology, right?
100%.
So that's kind of how they. Yeah, that's why I like Fargo in that sense, because it all feels like it's part of the same anthology, even though the first episode or the first season is a little bit more compacted, right? So, But the other one that some have failed pretty miserably, I think, didn't they do a Fatal Attraction series?
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't. It got canceled after first season, but I think it's like that idea doesn't work over the course of 10 episodes. It's too much. It's and they can't just turn an American Gigolo. I think got canceled after a season.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a series.
Yeah, they made a series out of that. And it's like, not every movie can be expanded into a show.
Yeah.
Especially a story like that where the arc of the character doesn't really lend itself to a full-on. I mean, it's weird what they choose to, like. Fatal Attraction was such a product of the late 80s or 87 when it came out. And then to move it over to today and try and make it contemporary. I mean, I understand in our Me Too age and everything, and somebody probably thought, "Ooh, that's topical." And how about the Dead Ringers TV series?
Right. That was a completely different thing altogether. I mean,
I know, but yeah, it was totally. But then if you take Dead Ringers and you shift the main characters who are gynecologists and make them women, which is what they did with Rachel Weisz. The whole dynamic of what you're watching I mean, the creep factor is not there.
Mhm,
The fact that, you know, if men are making weird tools with, as
right.
Beverly Mantle says, I've made these tools, they're for operating on mutant women.
Right.
I mean, the
right.
creep factor of a guy doing that is so crazy.
Right.
And I had really high hopes for the Dead Ringers series. And I watch it and I'm like, this is so not, it so doesn't work.
Right. Right.
I mean, some of it was interesting, but it doesn't, like trying to turn that one of the characters into having that voracious sexual appetite. It's like, it doesn't work. You know, I'm watching a woman doctor doing this kind of stuff. I'm like, you would be much more hyper aware of how dangerous this kind of behavior is from a health standpoint.
Yeah.
I don't buy that you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not because I'm a guy. I'm just like, I don't buy it. I don't buy this behavior from you.
Yeah.
And it's problematic. You can't just gender swap everything and have it work.
Yeah. Well, and one of the rumors I'm hearing on Cape Fear is that it's going to be gender swapped. That it's going to be a female lawyer and a female prisoner that was, you know, unlawfully, or whatever. You know, the prisoner who's seeking revenge is a woman. The lawyer is a woman. Yeah.
Well,
so,
give me a good femme fatale, but it's like, okay.
We'll see.
All right.
Anyway, we've got Pedro Ferreira coming up next. Welcome, Pedro. You should be able to join the call at this time.
What's up, man?
How's it going?
By the way, you're so wrong about the original Battlestar Galactica. I just want to say that. It's not a great show. It never was a great show.
It was a good show.
No.
It was. The reboot was rubbish.
You're in a minority on that opinion, by the way.
I'm gonna have to cut you off. I'm sorry, Pedro. I'm gonna have to cut you off.
Yeah, I mean, I could never, even when I was a kid, by the end of the pilot, the 3-hour movie, and I saw the pilot in the theater, when Starbucks like, yeah, we're gonna put these girls on the circuit. I'm like, on the circuit, humanity's just been destroyed, and you're talking about putting a girl group on this. Come on, bro.
Yeah, but you know, the whole point was that they were in the middle of it and they weren't like thinking correctly. That they were like still struggling to get to get a hold of what was going on around them, and that was the point of the pilot.
Yeah, and then the Ovions were attacking.
Well.
What's that?
They couldn't make it too dark as well. You got to understand that as well.
No, I know, but I mean, come on, the gun on Ice Planet Zero with the clones. And then, I mean, there's some stuff I really liked. Like, I did like the whole Experiment in Terra arc that they did. And I did like the Angels, the light ship and stuff. And I liked the Pegasus thing.
I thought it was just really enjoyable. And it was such a shame that the show wasn't allowed to continue.
It was too expensive.
Yeah, but when I saw I didn't like the reboot. But then when I saw Space Above and Beyond, I thought, hang on a second. Is that the new Battlestar Galactica? So it's like,
nope.
They ripped off Space Above and Beyond. That's exactly the same show. Wow.
No.
Yes,
they were fighting aliens.
They're fighting aliens. They're fighting robots as well in Space Above and Beyond.
Well, they didn't make the robots.
It's okay. We can disagree. We can agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.
Remember, your favorite movie is your favorite movie is Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and mine is Generations, and they're both not very well liked movies. So
yeah, but one is much better than the other.
Well, yeah, you would say that, wouldn't you?
Pedro, yes, you continue to dig yourself a hole, Pedro. Let's you have to stop. You have to stop.
Did you see the thing I sent you, Rob, about Generations? That little video, or whatever.
I have not watched it yet.
It's amazing the melee attacks you can do as Picard and Picard and Worf, and they all have their own melee attacks. It's just amazing. And Kirk, you can go like that. He's got this...
For Generations video game, there's melee attacks.
Yeah, because your phaser runs out of power apparently.
But if it's a Generations game, what are you shooting at? The Klingons?
Klingons and also Romulans.
Oh,
and the
other
sun.
aliens,
You're
yeah.
shooting at the
Yeah,
sun.
it's a really weird game because it's like there's one mission apparently. I haven't played the game. But there's one mission apparently where you go down to a planet and you have to basically clear the level of Romulans, and instead of sending in Worf or Riker to basically shoot everyone, they send in Geordi for some weird reason. So it's just really weird, but it's got some crazy stuff. Oh, did you get a chance also to read that Quantum Leap thing I sent you? The post I sent. It's a Reddit post. It's a link to a Reddit post.
which one?
Well, there's only one I did. It was basically I put down 3 reasons why I don't like the modern Quantum Leap.
Oh yeah. That was actually yes. And that was some interesting stuff there.
I
And
got really downvoted for that. I got like 0 downvotes for that. And you know, the guy that previously did a podcast about me because I said that I didn't like the casting. I didn't think the casting was a creative idea. He came after me because I mentioned him in the article. So he came after me in the comments, and now he's probably going to do another podcast about me now. But
yeah, that's a tough crowd, that Quantum Leap crowd.
Yeah, but I think it's important to note, Rob, it's like this is the people in power, the people who have moderation power. They if you don't have a following, on YouTube, if you are like basically someone who doesn't have a YouTube channel or doesn't have a following, people in power can basically treat nobodies like dirt, basically, because I don't have a YouTube channel or anything, so they think they can basically just like talk about me online or whatever, and think that I'm not going to respond. But I'm a human being. I mean, not all of us are bots, you know. Some of us
right.
are. So
and that Quantum Leap crowd you're messed up with, they're a tough crowd.
Yeah,
those guys.
well, you know, and the thing is, I wasn't criticizing the politics of the show or anything. I was criticizing just the way the writing was. And it's not like I want the show to fail. I want the show to succeed. If you read the post, I really want the show to succeed. But man, it's there are some things that the show needs to sort out, because the connection between and the connection just with the original show, it's just not there. There seems to be a resistance to.
Yeah, I mean, they want to do their own thing. I totally understand it, you know. But if you're going to even insinuate, which they have, that there's a connection to the original show, then own it.
But it's like I didn't even know until they did. How many episodes? They did 18 episodes for season 1. I didn't know until the end of episode 17 that the show had been moved. They'd moved to LA. I didn't even know. There's no they're establishing shots, but how would I know? Like, how would I know that they're now? But you don't see Project Quantum Leap, you know. Like in the original, they showed Project Quantum Leap in New Mexico. But how would I know that they moved? Like, there's no explanation of anything.
To me, the new Quantum Leap, this is a weird thing to say, but it reminded me of the reboot of V with Marina Baccarin when they redid V. It was all right, but it wasn't like, you know, there was something about the approach when they're redoing these shows, and they've tried to redo so many different shows. Yeah. When you're redoing a show from the 80s, V was from the 80s, Quantum Leap is from the 80s, and you're doing it now, there's a certain tone to these shows from the 80s that's the first thing they get rid of.
Yeah.
And the thing about the thing about Quantum Leap is Dean Stockwell and Scott Bakula, they had a rapport that is and a breezy relationship that made that show fun. The time travel element was great, but it was that cast that was, and that was part of what Quantum Leap was that relationship.
Well, one of the things that I pointed out was that the in terms of there's a lot of exposition between characters so that characters are put in the know about something. But then the negative of that is that you don't like nothing actually you want explained is actually like nothing you want related to the show's mythology is explained. You have characters talking to other characters and them informing them, oh, this has happened. Oh, Ben's gone in here now. Ben's done this now. It's like, we don't need to know any of this stuff. You know, like in the original Quantum, you wouldn't have characters tell other characters, well, I'm going outside now. Oh, I'm going this way. You know, there's no need for that stuff. It feels like the new Quantum Leap feels like 24, but with science fiction. That's what it feels like.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong. And I think the problem is, look, I think the biggest problem that faces a lot of television writing today is the people that are writing television grew up watching television. So what you're watching is a modern refiltering of these are not people that read lots of books. They watched a lot of TV. And the problem with storytelling is the people that created the television they grew up watching had literary backgrounds. And there's no sense of literary, I mean, storytelling, all of this stuff, genre storytelling is comes from literature. You're never going to be able to write a great horror story if you haven't read Edgar Allan Poe, or you haven't read Mary Shelley.
I was just going to say, Martin Guerrero is part of the writing stuff, so you'd think he would know Stargate Atlantis, and you know he's one of the big writers on that show in terms of experience. So
it depends how much they let him do, let him how much they let him write. I mean, look, people forget Nicholas Meyer was one of the original writers on Discovery. He wrote the second episode. I have his version of the script, and then of course when they changed over, they got rid of him. Just like they got rid of Walter Mosley. I mean, one of America's great genre novelists now, and you kick him off the writing staff because he tells a story that somebody was offended by. TV writers, man.
Thank you, Pedro.
A disgruntled bunch.
All right, we got Mikey Lito coming up. Welcome, Mikey. You should be able to join the call now. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Now we're gonna have sunshine and rainbows brought to us now.
You know better than that, Rob. First off, to you, Alon, and all of our Jewish friends, happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
To the chat and everyone else, whatever holidays you celebrate, happy holidays. Flatten the movie. One night I was up overnight and I couldn't sleep, and I sat down and watched it. Do you know the movie I'm referring to?
Wait, which movie?
Flattened.
I have not seen this.
It's part of the IICF.
Oh.
It's an hour and 41 minutes, and if those guys aren't professionals, they should be at least a semifinalist.
Dude, that movie is incredible. I mean, it's incredible.
I never laughed so much.
Dude, that movie's great. And what are you saying, Flatten? I'm like, is that in theaters? It should be.
No, it's on the Robservations
it is
channel. So
it's the longest. It's a feature film. It's a feature length movie.
It absolutely is, and it was hilarious. I never laughed so much.
It's hilarious.
You were talking about just now with Pedro and with Roberto about modern storytelling, and it's basically like everything else today. I decided to annoy your audience early, by the way. They're weak. It's weak.
It is weak.
It's
but why do you think that is?
I don't know. There's something childish going on in our. I absolutely agree with you that we're being programmed.
Oh yeah.
I know I'm being radicalized myself. I recognize it in myself.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable what is going on. Like watching today, I watched that whole hearing where you had the presidents of Penn and MIT and Princeton, and the way they spoke, the way those university presidents spoke, they were all saying the same thing. I mean, clearly they had been programmed.
It's not even English.
Right. It's just, what I find so strange is we're carrying around these devices all the time. The intelligence agencies in the 50s could only have dreamed of the situation that we find ourselves in today. I mean, you can do it from here. Like, I could do an experiment where if I were to send out if I wanted to, I could design something that would piss people off. I could send it out, just me, whatever it was, on Twitter, make a YouTube video about it, something that would ripple through the internet within a day. And my reach isn't that great, but I could. That would be designed, and it would be designed to provoke, as an experiment. We're getting that happening all day, every day, 24/7, by people that we're being completely engineered in terms of, because we're pushing the emotional buttons, and it's been happening since the advent of the smartphone, since 2007, from the very beginning.
On at least 3 channels, 24/7, except when Dateline is running.
But it's really weird to watch and to listen. Like, I hear people, I'm like, oh, I even know what articles they've read. I can go back and go, okay, you've read this, or you've watched this, or you've watched this. And it's really odd. And what I find so strange is that the people's opinions now are not, normally you had a depth of historical knowledge, like just basic historical knowledge. And I'm listening to people talk, and I realize they don't don't have basic historical knowledge of just stuff that's happened. Like
you and Roberto at the top were talking about when you were born, and as you know, I was born before you.
Yes,
I was born 8 years after the end of World War II.
Right.
And I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I'm going to have to rely on Richard as to whether what I'm saying about Hawaii is factual or not. September 11th, 2001, the entire national audience of the United States of America is forced to listen to New York City drone on and on and on about what happened on that day. I don't recall seeing any coverage of December 7th, 1941. Now, in the first couple of years, I didn't have a problem with the commemoration of 9/11. But we're 22 years beyond that. How long are we going to commemorate it? Yes, there was no TVs in 1941. I understand that, Darth Plato, but there's TVs now. Pearl Harbor was just as significant an event in American history as 9/11. And I think I was watching YouTube a couple of days ago, and I didn't hear any mention of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I mean, the further, like I've said, pop culture has a half-life of 20 years. So does history. I mean, we forget. I'm convinced that I mean, I was explaining this to somebody else. When I was a kid going to Sunday school, and I had to go to Sunday school. I've been getting a religious I got a religious education 50 years ago. I started going to temple, and on Sundays getting a religious education, and over the years, and we weren't praying. It was school, where you'd go to school, you'd have classes on Sundays, and people would come in. I met many people who are Holocaust survivors, the way that I see people in this situation now discussing Israel, and especially younger people that are in college, it's as if they've never heard of the Holocaust, or they have no understanding of what World War II was about. You know, it wasn't just 6 million Jews that was exterminated. It was 6 million other people as well. You know, 12 million people died. The Nazis figured out a way to industrialize the extermination of human beings. And it's almost as if these people don't understand. I mean, Israel was created 3 years after the end of the Holocaust, you know, and the UN and the British Mandate and all that. And it's crazy to me that it seems like all these people that are talking about this have no understanding that even happened. And that why this, and then immediately after Israel was formed, you had an Arab coalition try and destroy it.
Absolutely worse. And I'll tell you why I said that. It's the denial of reality.
Well, yeah.
I'll tell you what I've been doing the past week. Tom Jr. Jackson brought up this series a couple of weeks ago, and I was chumming around looking for something to watch. And so I turned on Aaron Sorkin's The Newsroom, which is—
Had you ever watched it before?
Oh, yes. I watched it when it first aired. But I hadn't watched it since it first aired. I watched it the 3 seasons straight through. So I sat down and watched it, and some of the exact same topics that we are discussing now were evident. The series is 13 years old.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there was no Freedom Caucus.
Yeah, no.
But it was the same denial of truth.
Yeah.
That was going on then. So I'm going to wrap this up and bring it around to current entertainment, because I know that's what most people are here for. After last week's musing at the very end of the broadcast, I sent you a tip, but you didn't see it, and it's my fault because I sent it at the very end. And my question to you was, do you think that Godzilla, and now the word is escaping me, but I'll just say represents the United States in some form or fashion?
Well, yes. I mean, and they've made Godzilla movies where I think it was Godzilla versus Ghidorah. It's a time travel thing where the Americans are the villains, we're the bad guys. And they've done that. But yeah, I think Godzilla is a manifestation of there's definitely an American, maybe not so much America, but the power. I mean, the Americans were the ones that dropped the atomic bombs, but yeah, for sure. But I don't know if Godzilla, him or herself, depending on who you talk to, in this particular movie was necessarily representative of America, because we'd already decimated Japan. You know, I mean, Godzilla came to finish the job, maybe.
Right.
You know,
right.
It was.
I thought in this movie, Godzilla was very, very angry for no obvious reason.
Yeah.
As I said in my review, he was throwing people around the waist, by the waist. So it's not like he was hungry, because he didn't swallow him. He just took him and threw him across town.
Yeah. Yeah. He was mad that he exists.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, once again, happy Hanukkah, happy holidays to everyone in the chat. Hopefully next year I'll be in a better mood.
I don't know.
Mikey.
We'll see. It's an
Good
election
to see you,
year, Mikey.
as always.
Yeah, don't get me started.
You know, I thought that in a way Godzilla was almost representative of the power vacuum, because the idea, I mean, one of the things that they kept emphasizing in the story was, in this post-World War II Japan, America couldn't help under the circumstances, and the Japanese government couldn't help. And so it's the people that have to rise. So it was all about being abandoned and having to kind of bring people together, so that it was almost like you can't rely on any superpower. you ultimately have to rely on the people coming together to solve their problems, kind of thing. That was kind of the direction I thought it was going. So Godzilla was more of a symptom of the circumstances than representative of something in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We've got Doug Salier joining us here. Welcome, Doug. You should be able to join the call now.
Oh,
What's up, man?
boy, my conversation sure has changed now. Is nothing better than the original Battlestar Galactica. I'm rather
Is that the German box set?
Yeah, I had to order it from HMV when that was.
Yeah. Okay, it's British. Yeah. It's a European set. It's a cool set.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. Galactica 80. Oh yeah, I'll admit, not very good.
No.
A few gems in that in the 10 episode run.
The
but,
Starbuck episode's good.
Starbuck's good. I like the original when they went back in time and trying to, with the bad guys trying to harm the Nazis.
Yeah.
That was I think that was a 3-part episode. That was good, but the Super Scouts I wasn't very great on. But
yeah, no.
But the original Battlestar Galactica run, I think they had a lot of things planned for that, and it was a shame that they didn't continue it because
no, I mean it was better as it went along.
Places. Yeah, they were going in different places. You know, like the, you know, like when Apollo turned into a ghost and he was all dressed in white and everything.
Well, yeah, the light ship, the angelic light ship. I mean, all that stuff was really, and the idea that the Count. I love the Count Ibley storyline. But they didn't when Patrick McNee showed up, but they didn't get far enough into it. You don't know, like when they go in and they find the wreckage of the ship. You don't know. They're like, oh, he's got a cloven hoof, but they didn't commit to the fact that was the Pegasus. And it was cool. I liked that stuff, but it was all over the map. And that Patrick,
it was. They tried to connect that with the Imperious leader being Patrick McNee's voice.
Yeah, which I liked. And Patrick McNee also narrated the show at the beginning, at least the first 13 episodes.
Yeah.
Life began here. Life here began out there, far across the universe, with tribes of humans.
Yeah, no, I just I'm going to the Vancouver Expo, Fan Expo, February, and Mary McDowell, that from the reboot series, she's going to be there, which I'm trying to think of a question for her because I really don't like that series. I like them trying to find Earth, and right away they said, well, we're just lying. Earth isn't a thing, and it's like, really? It kind of ruined the show for me.
But it was a thing. They found it.
I know, but originally, they were just they need something to believe in, right?
Right.
And I didn't like the. I don't know why we have to make everything dark nowadays. Like everything boy, they had budget for that for that first season. They had guest stars up to yin yang. They had
I
pretty
know.
good
Hey, they had
effects.
Buster Crabbe, man. And Julie Newmar as the War Witch.
Yeah. They had Frank Gershwin on it, and Julie Newmar, and a lot of the old Batman villains. I love the old stuff. I'm kind of like I'll take Lou Ferrigno as Incredible Hulk any day over a CGI Incredible Hulk. Like, I'm rather stuck in the 80s when it comes to my TV series, movies, and
Sure.
And music.
Yeah, I know, but because that's what people grew up with. I mean, look, I always thought that Battlestar Galactica begins with the extermination of mankind, and so if the people took that as Ron Moore and David Icke said, okay, mankind is destroyed, then what are we going to do? And the idea, I thought that they did a really good job. The idea of monotheists and polytheists, and why did you have the planets named after the zodiac? And I really thought what was audacious about the remake of Battlestar Galactica is that God exists. And even though you never see God, this has happened all before and it'll happen again, that the character of God and his angels, his emissaries, are part of the show. And I thought that was pretty audacious to do that. And I thought it was interesting from that perspective. But it gets to the point where my whole thing about Battlestar Galactica was it was an amalgamation of a bunch of ideas that were sort of, as much as I liked it when I was 11 years old when it first aired, it was fun to watch. But even I knew then, I'm like, okay, when you meet these clones, it wasn't like, it was people that had the most rudimentary understanding of science fiction. And even as a kid, that bothered me. I'm like, can't you make this show smarter? But it wasn't like, look, I had all the toys. I still have Colonial Vipers and the original base stars and the Galactica, and I've got them. I still love all that stuff. But,
if I could make a clone, I would probably pick Brett Eklund to clone. That wouldn't be too bad. But
that's interesting. Mary Goodnight from Man with Golden Gun.
Yeah. And overrated or underrated James Bond movie, by the way.
Yeah,
I mean, one of the best stunts. The side whistle was unfortunate, but I had one of the best stunts in Bond, in my opinion. So
yeah, no, it's gotten better. I just think that the problem with both Live and Let Die and Man with Golden Gun is the Bond franchise began to chase trends rather than set trends. It's like, let's make a blaxploitation movie, let's make a martial arts movie, and it was a little odd, but yeah.
Okay, well, Merry Christmas, and we'll
Merry Christmas. We'll be back. We'll have another. I think we'll have another, or maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, we'll have one more. Christmas. I think we'll have one more before the new year.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, speaking of Man with the Golden Gun, one of the saddest things about Live and Let Die and Man with the Golden Gun is that the first ever attempt at some actual continuity between movies ends up being Sheriff J.W. Pepper. I mean,
terrible.
Come on. Of all the ideas you could have had to have some actual continuity, to base it off of Sheriff J.W. Pepper is kind of sad.
Well, it's interesting because in addition to blaxploitation and stuff, you had the Burt Reynolds, you had White Lightning, and you had Gator.
Yeah.
And you look at that stuff and you're like, oh man.
It's straight out of that.
Yeah, the Bond franchise, as much as I loved it, even as a kid, people talk about like, yeah, I liked Live and Let Die because there's a great theme song and you've got, you've got Yaphet Kotto and you've got Baron Samedi, and I loved all of the voodoo, the Caribbean voodoo stuff in it, but it was so like James Bond in Harlem, the fillet of soul, it's like it was so like New Orleans and the whole voodoo realm and all that, but you're going after drug dealers and stuff. It just seems so, you're going after Blofeld and Diamonds Are Forever, and now you're going after drug dealers.
Yeah.
That are
Pedro
using
made a comment
voodoo.
here in the chat, but it's not true. that Diamonds Are Forever continues from on Her Majesty's Secret Service. I argue that is not the case. I argue that even though they set it up at the beginning, like Bond is chasing after Blofeld.
Because he killed his wife.
At no point in the movie do they establish that he's going after Blofeld because it's his wife. And then when he finally does confront Blofeld later, no mention of it.
No.
It's a very casual encounter with the scene where he kills the one Blofeld and it's the other clone. So it was, if there was supposed to be any kind of continuity there, it was very loosely implied.
No, and the only time it ever comes up after that is it comes up once in Spy Who Loved Me.
That's the only time when it comes up. Yep.
Well, it does come up at the beginning of For Your Eyes Only because he's visiting her grave.
Which is why I argue that the way to watch the movies is to watch Diamonds Are Forever after you watch You Only Live Twice. And then at least with the Lazenby movie, think of the Lazenby movie as the first Roger Moore movie. And it kind of makes more sense because then you go into the Moore continuity and he's the one where they actually give us some follow-up with the Tracy story.
Yeah.
And even the beginning of Live and Let Die, when you think about it, Moneypenny is the one looking for James, who has basically gone back to his womanizing ways, probably in the wake of the death of his wife. And you can see that Moneypenny's kind of worried for him, So there's a little bit of a connection there, I think. If you watch them in that order, think of that Lazenby movie almost as the precursor to the Roger Moore era, and it makes way more sense with all of the Tracy stuff. So I rest my case.
It's interesting because there's people that talk about how to watch James Bond in order.
Yeah.
But because you have to start with Casino Royale.
Yeah.
But so you have to forget the different Bonds and the different eras. But if you watch them in a certain order, you can make it kind of work. But you have to do a lot of mental gymnastics in order to, get rid of the.
And On Her Majesty has one huge problem in continuity in that Bond meets Blofeld at the end of You Only Live Twice. By the time we get to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, they've never met. And
they've never met.
Or he somehow doesn't recognize him because he's wearing a kilt and glasses. It's like James Bond is now Superman or something.
Or no, because then he's Charles Gray. So then it's Making Mud Pies 007. Yeah. So he just keeps getting plastic surgery.
So if you go from You Only Live Twice to Diamonds Are Forever, that makes sense. But Blofeld got away in the end, and Connery's Bond is hunting him down, and Diamonds Are Forever.
Right.
And then that kind of ends the Connery era when you think about it. That movie, he finally gets Blofeld in the end. Sorry, I'm going on my rant here. And then you can say
it's a good one.
Things kind of get rebooted for the first time with Lazenby and the Moore era as being kind of its own continuity there. So anyway, rest my case. It's time for Kevin Wilburn to join us. Welcome, Kelvin.
Thanks, Roberto.
Sorry to take over your time there.
It's all good.
Good morning, Rob.
How are you, man?
Good to talk to me.
Oh, you got your talk to me set, huh?
Yep. And I even have a pen to go with it.
I gotta get mine. I'm so behind on ordering stuff. Nice.
Lovely.
Did you get the Dune set from Umbrella too?
No, I don't really remember having good feelings about the 1984 or even I don't even think I even saw the 2000 sci-fi series.
Yeah. Yep, I can understand that. That's cool.
Got a nice set of art cards. Oh, that's the back cover.
Mm-hmm.
A little booklet, so it did really well. I think. The only disappointment about it, it's no Dolby Atmos.
Oh, well.
Only 5.1 raster audio.
Yeah, they probably didn't do an Atmos mix.
No. Oh no, the Lionsgate one is in Atmos.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's
That sucks.
that does suck. I didn't know that.
No, so it's feel like I spent $136 and why? Anyway, I was gonna I just thought I went and seen Godzilla -1 and I thought it was an excellent movie. I had a great time going
So
to
good.
see it. I have funny one thing I thought was and you sort of was actually had anti-Japanese feelings at the beginning of the movie because, like yourself, in the post-war World War II era, and everything after, like was anti-Japanese,
Right.
even, like cars and everything like that, And so I was like, and then I thought, well, our hero is a kamikaze pilot who doesn't go through with his mission, and so really get behind him, and it becomes a citizen gathering of people together. It's not a government or or anything like that. So I find that was quite an interesting perspective to have. But,
Yeah.
it's actually the first Godzilla movie I think I've seen in the theater for, I don't know, years and years and years. Because I think my first Godzilla movie must have been Godzilla versus Megalon.
Yeah, so many.
1976.
Yeah. Totally.
School holidays or something like that. but it's just one of those things. I haven't bought any really apart from the first one because when I was living with my brother, we used to share a lot of stuff. And he bought all the Godzilla movies and that. So it's just occurred to me that maybe I've got to go out and buy some.
Well, it's funny. I really like the what is it? The High Sierra? Was that the 90s? Godzilla versus the Ghidorah and Godzilla versus Mothra, and I liked all that Space Godzilla and it was a lot. Those were a lot of fun. And then Godzilla GMK.
Yes.
All Out Monsters Attack. That movie rules.
Although I do find the most embarrassing Godzilla movie is Son of Godzilla. With baby Godzilla. I thought that was lame. But I actually had my first experience of actually watching Amazon Prime, which I've had for quite a while, because you and Dieter talked about Totally Killer, which was that movie of time travel.
Yeah,
I really loved that. I thought, where's my physical media of that? I'd be wrapped with that. I thought that was really good, and so it's actually used Prime for something else rather than just shipping or anything like that. I was interested to see your observations. Well, I didn't get to finish it all, but on thinking about the Romans. You've got to ask yourself one question: who doesn't think about the Romans?
Right.
Because all the iconography of all of our buildings is all set like as if it was in Rome, all our town halls, things like that are all with this Roman architecture and things like that. And I've always had this theory too that the Roman Empire actually hasn't finished, because if you think about it, when the Roman Empire, well, the Western finished, they actually, the emperor, he handed his laurel to the Pope. And so therefore, effectively, the Pope is the Emperor of Rome.
Right.
Think about it. So there you are. You know, it's funny when you think about those sorts of things, and how I mean, I was watching a guy named Guy Delabedway. He's a Roman historian. He wrote a book. Well, he's written several books. His recent one is actually the fall of the Egyptian Empire and the rise of Rome. And he looked at it from the point of view of the Roman historians looking back at the fall of Egypt and what their concerns about the fall of Rome was going to be. It sounds like an interesting book. I'll have to.
Yeah.
But, I have one other thing I wanted to ask you about is colorization.
Not a fan.
Because, as you may be aware, that BBC have gone and recut and recolorized the Daleks, and they're going to do, I think they're doing a couple of other stories as well from 1963.
Yeah.
And I've looked at it and I just think, oh God, this is horrendous. This looks so awful.
Yeah, I'm especially when you're colorizing something that was, you know, whether it was shot on video or whatever at the time. I mean, I don't understand this idea that if something wasn't
a modern audience.
Yeah, I mean, why does the look? First of all, a modern audience is never going to like a 1963 Doctor Who episode anyway. And this idea that you're trying to appeal to a modern audience by making something in color so they'll go back and watch it. To me, in a way, it's self-defeating, because by making it in color, you're trying to bamboozle somebody into believing it's something that I don't, and they know it's not. I mean, it's really, I think it's really stupid. And this idea that you're trying to appeal to, look, modern audiences are all about what's going on now. And I think that unfortunately that the as I've always said, pop culture is a product of its time, and you're never going to get people to go back, especially now. If people are fans of Doctor Who, beginning with the Eccleston era, in 2005, he's a ninth Doctor. If people are becoming a fan of Doctor Who, they're never going to go back and watch Patrick Troughton and enjoy it. They're just not going to be able to.
Not in the same way, no. It's a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, I tell people, it's as much as I love James Bond movies, going back and watching Dr. No, if I was talking to somebody who's 20 years old today and they really like the Daniel Craig era or whatever, I could not recommend them going back and watching Dr. No. They're not going to like it. I mean, if you're a real cineast and you have a real understanding and affinity of going back and watching older movies or something, I would say, go back and watch it, but open your mind. But I get so sick and tired of people, and as I get older, I get less and less tolerant of it when people go back and they tell me, oh, it was boring. And I'm like, it's boring because you have a problem. You have never learned how to go back and watch something and learn. I mean, and I don't like to do that. I mean, I don't like to come out and point fingers, but it's a skill to go back and be able to watch. It's just like it's a skill to learn how to listen to symphonic music. If you've never been exposed to classical music, you have to get yourself in the mindset of it. And when I was a kid, our go-to position was like, I wanted to go back and watch all science fiction, fantasy, and horror movies from all time. and whether they were silent, if I was going to go back and watch The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, like I understood that this is a silent movie, and that I understood that I have to put myself in the position of understanding when it was made in film history. And it was something you had to be consciously aware of. So when you went back and watched Metropolis, or you watched Murnau's Sunrise, or you watched From the Earth, or George Méliès's A Trip to the Moon, you had to prepare yourself and understand what you were watching. So I would read
that. I do that every time I go and watch a silent movie. Is to make sure that you've got no distractions. You're going to be concentrating on that.
And you have to
time.
I mean, that's
early in the evening as well.
100%. And like when I tell people that they can't watch Antonioni movies like the Ennui trilogy, or they go back and watch Last Year at Marienbad, or movies that were hugely significant in like the late 50s and early 60s, especially foreign films, I know people that just can't, they are physically unable to sit down and watch these movies. They cannot watch them because they grew up only watching a certain kind of, I learned when I started going to the Seattle Film Festival, there were movies that I would genuinely consider to be extraordinarily boring. And I had to train myself. I had to realize, okay, this movie's only going to last an hour and a half or 2 hours. So I was able to sort of put myself in a Zen mindset, and I had to really focus and concentrate on certain foreign films just to be able to get through them. But because I was watching 250 movies in a month from all over the world, that I was seeing all kinds of things. And this is when I started going to the film festival when I was 13 years old. It was a training thing. It was almost like learning a skill. It was learning a skill, and it served me later on in life. Like when I started watching Andrei Tarkovsky movies, which I love, I cannot recommend in good conscience, maybe Solaris, but to go back and watch a Andrei Tarkovsky movie, I couldn't tell anybody I know to go back and watch Stalker. They're not going to enjoy watching it. It's going to literally be an unpleasant experience for most people to try and sit down that are casual moviegoers to try and watch a lot of the like movies of the 60s from Italy or France. And it's a bummer, but it's true. And you have to know, and I learned that when I was working at video stores. I would never give people movies that I thought that you should watch this because this is it's world cinema. And if you don't watch it, you're not going to be a good person. You can't do that because it's a skill to be able to watch certain kinds of movies.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, man.
Kelvin.
Good to see you.
See you, man.
Now I've got to get that talk to me set because I want that arm.
Now there's two, right? Because there's one that is wait, hold on.
If you buy the one from A24, it's already got it's already drawn on it.
That's already drawn up, exactly.
Yeah, but the one that comes from Umbrella, you get to put your own writing on it.
It's a very clever way to get you to buy both.
I know.
All right, Bob Littlepage is coming on now. Welcome, Bob.
On your yarmulke, it's time for Hanukkah. Oh, so Hanukkah to celebrate Hanukkah. As far as I'm going to go on that.
I love that song.
Yeah, I remember when he first did that on SNL during Weekend Update.
It was great. What's going on, man?
Well, I don't know if you follow my little travails in that JJ Prize model I got that by accident.
No.
I had ordered I was trying to get one of the Revell original series Enterprises off eBay.
Yeah.
And this thing shows up. I thought, okay, so I get in contact with a lady. I think it was a lady. No, Wichita, Kansas. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? It's, it's something. They speculated that maybe they got destroyed in the warehouse, and they didn't bother to tell her. And they just stuck this thing in there. Think I wouldn't notice? Come on. And so, well, if that's the case, maybe just because I paid like a little $50 for the thing. Yeah. So you can send me back 40. Because the options are giving either partial refund and I keep it, or send it back and they'll get a full refund. But I just kind of curious anyway, because it looks like a decent model.
It's a good kit.
Yeah, it's a good kit. I don't like the model, the design.
No, the ship's the design's terrible.
So I was like, well, okay, fine. If they then destroy it, okay, fine. Just give me $40 back. And so I start, I put part of the, the stand together. Actually, I can use it because one of the things that annoyed me about the, let me show you. The stand on the original series one, that's supposed to be the top of the stand. Do you see the problem here? Or actually, it's, well, somewhere my camera's reversed. But they got the delta reversed.
Yeah.
So I had to flip it around to get it straight. And okay, well, so sure it was a bit of a candy dish. Well, they got it right on the JJ prize. And the stand part is interchangeable. So, okay, great. I'll just whip that around. Meanwhile, what to do with the stupid JJ prize? I forget. Well, I'm starting working up ideas with some Princess Cruise markings. Because that's what he did. That's what he designed funny. With a freaking cruise ship, not a military vessel.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
And it's scary how well it works because I mocked up a few drawings. I posted them on Twitter.
Yeah.
About they call it the Astral Princess, and I was well. Thing is, a couple days after I started diddling this thing, again, we found the box. If you haven't started, can send it back. I'll send it. No, unfortunately, I've already started it. Refund, and they're getting another one from Italy this time. It'll be here in about a month or so. Like,
why did you choose to get the Revell kit instead of like the round 2 model?
Well, I need the size because let's see.
Yeah, the round 2 model is really big.
Yeah, I've got that back here. It's in the middle being work, but because I do have a Revell kit, which is currently in need of serious repair time. But it's about the same size. It's basically my proving of the same size as the AMT kit. Just
right, the Revell
bigger,
kit is
just slightly bigger than the AMT kit.
Yeah,
which kind of bolsters my case that the AMT kit is not the Constitution class, but a slightly older one, slightly blockier.
Well, it's the AMT kit's canon because it was in the Doomsday Machine.
Yeah, it is screen accurate to the Constellation. So carried further without much lower registry number, it's not a Constitution class starship. I call it the Bonhomme Richard class.
Well, that's interesting.
About 20 years older and still a starship, but it's like aircraft carriers. For the untrained eye, they all look alike. You can't tell from distance shot which one's a Kitty Hawk class, which one's a Nimitz class, which one's the Gerald Ford class, which one's the Yorktown. They all look alike. If they don't know what you're looking for. So
right.
But things you get in the details, you match up the bridge modules, which I figured would be universal. And then, the angle on the side of the primary hull is not quite the same. And, it comes out maybe about 10 feet shorter, really. But the nacelles are not quite the same. That sort of thing. Yeah. And, but also I mentioned the chat. I did a fan edit of Never Say Never Again. That made a much more Bond film. You got the gun barrel opening. Someone had done up the opening sequence with Bond bringing for the hostage without the stupid theme song.
Right.
Just straight regular Bond and use it as a pre-title sequence. And then it goes into basically a reuse of the opening title from Thunderball. With with replacing the credits. And
I have a version of that. When I was working on Superman Returns in Australia, somebody from Perth did a version of that, and they used Shirley Bassey of History Repeating.
This was an actual song that was in the running to be the theme for Never Say Never Again.
Yeah, this was
much better.
The version that I have, they used Shirley Bassey, and it was funny because History Repeating being a remake of Thunderball, I thought was pretty funny. So, they rescored the whole movie with Bond and Michael, or what's his face, who did the Pierce Brosnan movies.
It was that song, Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which actually plays in Thunderball during the dance sequence.
Yeah.
No, the big thing though is during the motorcycle. There's also a thing where inserting some music in the fight scene in the weight room all through the whole thing. But the big one was sticking the Bond theme over the motorcycle chase. Because there's no music through most of that thing. But you've gone on the motorcycle and chasing around Fatima Blood. Stick the Bond theme over that. Now it's a Bond film.
Yeah, I mean, it was putting all the John Barry music in that really helped it.
Mhm.
But I mean, the Michelle, was it Michelle Legrand who did that? It's
I don't know,
the music score is not good.
Yeah, and
It's really not
the
good.
natural break point where they corner him in the tunnel, stop the music right there, where just nothing, gets up in the truck, and when he guns it to jump out, start the music back up again.
Yeah, that's a really weird. It's a really bizarre move. I mean, I like some of it. I like Klaus Maria Brandauer and I like Barbara Carrera and stuff, but the movie itself and the motorcycle chase, the locations are cool, but there's just something off about it all.
Yeah, it's there's just a little touches of like this is more of a Bond film. Yes.
Yeah.
Especially with the stick in the Bond theme. Okay, now we got it.
Yeah, it was bizarre. 1983.
Yeah.
That was 40 years ago. Both Octopussy and Never Say Never Again are both 40 years old this year.
And then, of course, we got the anniversary of, Starts Motion Picture, as I call it, the longest test screening in motion picture history. Because the film got finished in 2002. And Bob Wise finally exercised. We want to do a DVD version once again. I want to finish my film. What do you mean? It's in my contract. I still haven't got final cut. I want my final cut.
Yeah. It's funny. It's the new version is really good, but there's things in it that I want to do one day. My definitive cut.
The briefing room, the officers' lounge thing is done. And they laugh about it in the commentary. If you heard about their Darren documents, yeah, this was the ugly stepchild here.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's the stuff I don't understand. What's frustrating is there was the people that did like the 3D walkthrough of the Enterprise, and when you get to the briefing room, it's perfect. And even with the one, I even preferred even the one nacelle, even though that didn't work. But I mean,
with anything,
it's just it was like.
I mean, I applaud the effort and the idea, but it's like, did you?
Well, it was weird. It was bizarre that was allowed to it doesn't look correct at all.
Yeah, I have to imagine on the big screen. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, I would rather put it.
Like, really, did you run out of money at this point, guys?
Yeah, I mean it's really bad. And there's certain sound effects that they change too that I don't like. Well, like the screaming in the transporter room is different, and there's and they cut out things. They cut stuff. They cut stuff out like that I don't like. Just little things that I like. Look, the second viewer off. They should never have removed that. And that was something that Dave Fine, talking to Dave and Darren, they'll die on that hill. But I'm like,
well, I can buy the argument. No, these are professionals. You shouldn't have to order twice on this. Viewer off.
But the thing is, this is actually a moment where the crew is stunned into silence.
Yeah.
And they're watching something, and that's actually a character. You're making a statement about how dire the threat is by seeing this crew of seasoned professionals stunned into silence. And by getting rid of that, you have Kirk reasserting his command, his command voice, because part of it is him. They don't know Kirk. He hasn't been in command of the ship. And it's like, they're like, well, he would never have to say it twice. Yeah, he does, because they're not used to having him on the Enterprise.
Well, he wasn't telling the crew, he was telling Uhura. She knows damn well who he is.
Right, but even so, I mean, it was still it's not.
I think the large part was this was considered. It was still the same crew for the most part. There wasn't a whole new crew.
No, there's a ton of aliens in the crew.
But there's some new ones, but mostly it's still probably the same crew.
Well, it's command staff, maybe.
Yeah, and the Robert.
I just think that was a change that.
Yeah, well, there were certain lines in there. Was like they were there in case the effects didn't quite cover it. Like like Chekhov going, "We made it." Shit, you made it. Just what
we're out of it.
Yeah, we're out of it. What I lobbied for when David Fine was talking before this thing was I wanted them to put back in Leonard Nimoy's ad lib on the bridge at the last scene, because he kind of and they shot it a few times both ways, the scripted, but also when he said, "If Dr. McCoy is remaining on board, then my presence here is essential."
Oh yeah,
and it got a good reaction, and they shot it a few times with straight. So there had to have been a straight cut where not everyone's breaking up.
Yeah,
and that was a perfect. But I think the Spock's already made a smart ass remark in the same scene. So
Yeah, yeah.
So it might be a little overkill, but
I missed the also when Ilea says V'ger does not know.
Yeah,
I missed that.
Maybe, I don't know. That did kind of draw the scene out of it. But I also kind of missed when they left out Decker's line, yeah, we all make God in our own image. You know, like, that sums up the thing right there. We could fit that back in. But I also kind of like the fact you realize after they'd done the director's edition for the DVD, rather, we forgot to put Earth behind the dry dock in the last one. Okay.
Well, they found those elements.
Yeah.
You know, they went back and they actually found that's some of the coolest stuff is they found elements that they didn't have before that they didn't even have when they finished the original movie. So they went back and got that stuff, which is really cool.
All right.
Very cool. It was good to see you,
Rob.
man.
Good to see you. And Rob, we are at the 2-hour mark, so I think we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to our friends on the YouTubes, but we will continue the chat offline. So for those of you who are still in the chat room, we will continue here. For those of you on YouTube, remember that if you ever want to join us in these chats and get the link to participate, just become a member of the channel for as little as $1 a month, right, Rob?
Yeah, for $1 a month. Come on in and talk.
Yep, $1 a month, and you'll be able to join us in the chats in the future. And yeah, I think we will be doing one more of these before the end of the year. So
yes,
stay tuned for that. In the meantime, be well, Rob. Any last minute announcements? Any other shows happening this weekend?
We will do Let's Get Physical Media. We're going to do Midnight Musings tonight. Yeah. So, yeah, same old. I don't really get anything so behind. So,
all right, sounds good. Well, we will see.
And it was a huge. The last 2 weeks have been huge.
Yeah,
huge.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, we will see you soon. Those of you in the Zoom call, don't go away. We'll continue in a moment. We're gonna take a little break just to end the stream. Take care, everybody.